Okay, let's jump right in. There's this puzzle, right? Something many of you have probably noticed too. Over the last, 6 months, Bitcoin's had this stream of really positive news. Stuff that usually makes the price, shoot up. And yet, the price hasn't really done that. It feels, disconnected. We stumbled upon a really interesting theory, first flagged by Jason Eade over at A Plus Crypto. And honestly, after digging into it, it makes a surprising amount of sense. So today we want to unpack that specific angle, trying to figure out what might really be going on with Bitcoin's price. So the core idea from Jason Eade is maybe a bit counterintuitive. He suggests a lot of people might be taking Bitcoin they already own, maybe in a private wallet, or selling it on an exchange, only to then immediately buy back the same amount through a Bitcoin ETF. Okay, so the big question then is, why would that matter for the price? Isn't demand still demand?
Well, that's the key difference, isn't it? How the demand actually hits the market. See, when you or I buy Bitcoin directly on an exchange, say Coinbase or Kraken, that buy order hits the public order book instantly. And that directly pushes the price. It's immediate supply and demand. But with Bitcoin ETFs, it's different. The impact is, well, it's muted. A huge chunk of these ETF inflows are filled off the counter, OTC, big block trades that don't happen on the regular exchange. Or the Bitcoin backing the ETF shares is just held by large custodians. It's not actively trading in the same way.
Oh, okay. So the money's coming in, huge amounts, but it's not hitting the price ticker in the same way because it's happening like behind the scenes.
Exactly. It's happening, but not on the lit exchanges where most price discovery occurs. And when you combine these ETF mechanics, the OTC deals, the custodian holding with, broader market factors, you get this lag effect. Or maybe think of it as a supply squeeze building up. The
Mhm.
demand is definitely real. It's massive even, but it's like a coiled spring, all this potential energy, but it's not immediately snapping the price upwards like direct spot buys would.
A coiled spring. I like that analogy. It really captures that sense of stored energy.
Yeah.
So the demand's there. It's just latent, waiting.
hmm
Can you give us a sense of the scale here? So how much money are we talking about with these ETFs? And crucially, that what if scenario. What if all that money had been direct spot buys?
Right. Let's talk numbers because they're frankly jaw-dropping. We've seen over $50 billion, that's billion with a B, in cumulative Bitcoin ETF inflows already.
50 billion. Wow.
Yeah. Now, market impact isn't linear, right? You can't just say $50 billion equals X price increase. But we can use established financial models like the square root market impact model. It helps estimate how much large trades move prices in less liquid markets. So
Right.
applying those models, if that same $50 billion had flowed directly into spot Bitcoin purchases on exchanges,
Okay. What's the number?
the estimates suggest Bitcoin's price could potentially be somewhere in the range of $150,000 to $200,000 right now.
150 to 200,000.
Seriously. Seriously. It just highlights this huge, almost hidden demand that the ETF structure is currently absorbing without translating fully into price action.
Okay, let me just process that. That's a massive difference.
Yeah.
So boiling it down, the ETF money is real. It's enormous.
Hmm.
But the way it enters the market through OTC and custodians
Mhm.
means it doesn't pump the price instantly, like direct buys would.
Precisely. And this directly contributes to that supply squeeze idea we mentioned. Think about it. Billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin is essentially being locked up in these ETF vehicles or by their custodians. It's not sitting on exchanges ready to be sold to the next spot buyer. So the available supply on the open market gets tighter. When real spot demand does pick up later, it hits a market with less available supply, potentially causing a much sharper move then. Some analysts are even exploring pretty complex timing models, things like oracle strategies or looking at cyclical patterns, trying to pinpoint when this built-up pressure might release. It's getting quite sophisticated.
It really shows you need to look under the hood, doesn't it? Headlines tell one story, but the market plumbing, the mechanics, that tells another. So, wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening to this and trying to make sense of the crypto market? Well, it suggests there might be this significant underlying demand for Bitcoin that isn't fully reflected in the current price because of how ETFs work. And that leads to the final thought. If this theory holds water and this hidden demand is building, what happens when it eventually does spill over into direct market pressure? How could the whole dynamic shift? And maybe it makes you wonder, what other hidden mechanics might be influencing other assets you follow? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us.